Near the height of his power, the Sultan dictated a vision of his own future to his biographer. "I think that when God grants me victory over the rest of the coast, I shall set sail on this sea for their far-off lands and pursue the Franks there, so as to free the earth of anyone who does not believe in God, or die in the attempt." But the man who envisioned crossing oceans did not begin his life as a king. He was born Yusuf ibn Ayyub in 1137, the exact night his family was expelled from the fortress of Tikrit. He entered the world as a landless exile. The Middle East Yusuf inherited was a patchwork of competing powers, split between the northern Sunni Zengids, the southern Shia Fatimids, and coastal European Crusader states. Egypt's Fatimid Caliphate was uniquely vulnerable. Isolated by desert and exposed to naval incursions, its survival was never guaranteed. For the exiled boy who would become Saladin, this fractured map presented a choice. Survival in the 12th century required more than securing a local castle. It demanded a unified response to a shared threat. Saladin's opportunity arrived in his 20s. Deployed to Egypt as a soldier under his uncle, Shirkuh, he quickly established his reputation by helping defeat a massive Crusader Byzantine force near Damietta. When his uncle died in 1169, the Shia Fatimid Caliph appointed the young Sunni Saladin as his vizier. The caliph's advisors reportedly suggested him because they believed there is no one weaker or younger, assuming he would be a figurehead they could easily control. Saladin proved them wrong. He methodically built his own administration, and by 1171 officially abolished the Fatimid Caliphate entirely. He was no longer a vizier. He was the absolute sultan of Egypt. He now controlled the most fertile agricultural state in the region. By securing the throne in Cairo, Saladin had obtained the tax revenue and the deep logistical base necessary to finally address the Crusader presence on the coast. The Crusader states relied on the political cracks between rival Muslim emirates to survive. Saladin realized that as long as his neighbors were fighting each other, the Europeans would remain unmovable. He led his army out of Egypt and into Syria, prioritizing the unification of his own borders. After years of campaigning, he finally broke the resistance of rival Muslim wards at the Battle of the Horns of Hama in 1175. The result was a massive geopolitical shift. For the first time in generations, the territories of Egypt and Syria were united under a single Ayyubid banner. Saladin was formally recognized as the sultan of both. With the resources of the Nile and the manpower of the Levant under one command, Saladin led the largest, most cohesive military force in the Middle East. This is the extinct volcano known as the Horns of Hattin. In July 1187, Saladin baited the Crusader army onto this waterless plain. Exhausted by the heat and parched by thirst, the knights were trapped and systematically defeated. After the slaughter, Saladin brought the captured Templars before him. He offered a grim warning, telling them to take careful thought regarding how they intended to secure their own lives in safety. The victory at Hattin was absolute. By capturing or killing the vast majority of the Latin forces in a single day, Saladin had effectively destroyed the Kingdom of Jerusalem's ability to defend its own borders. Look at the Dome of the Rock. When Saladin retook Jerusalem shortly after Hattin, his entry was marked by restraint. When a weeping Christian mother begged for his mercy, he personally saw that her lost baby was found and returned, then granted her family safe passage out of the city. A century earlier, the Crusaders had taken Jerusalem in a massacre. Saladin's bloodless reconquest established a different legacy, one governed by strict moral pragmatism. The news that Jerusalem had fallen shocked the monarchs of Europe. It triggered the immediate launch of the Third Crusade, bringing kings and thousands of heavily armored knights back to the coast of Palestine. These are the fortifications of Acre. The conflict evolved into a grueling war of attrition as Western forces besieged these coastal strongholds. Saladin suffered tactical losses against the disciplined European units at Arsuf and Jaffa. However, he fought the Crusaders to a strategic standstill, eventually forcing a peace treaty that Richard the Lionheart could not break. The treaty was a definitive victory. Saladin maintained Muslim control over Jerusalem while formalizing the rights of Christian pilgrims to enter the city in peace. This reddish-brown dome in Damascus marks Saladin's final resting place. When he died in 1193, he left behind no personal fortune. He had given away his vast wealth to his subjects, leaving his treasury without enough gold to even pay for his funeral. He left two distinct legacies. In the West, medieval writers held him up as a paragon of chivalry. In the East, he became the ultimate symbol of a unified Arab world. This golden emblem is the Eagle of Saladin. Today, it appears on the national flags and coats of arms of Egypt, Iraq, and Palestine. The boy born in exile at Tikrit assembled an empire that outlasted his life, providing a template for Arab unity that remains visible in the iconography of the modern world.